Well, praise the Lord. I'm Pastor Deborah from ACNN News, that's ACNN Christian News Network, here again with another awesome story. We've been covering stories that God has really wanted the world to see. So right now, we're here with our sister Lizette, and she's going to tell you the name of her place is what?
Hope for Women in Crisis.
Hope for Women in Crisis. Now, what's going to really mix you up, you're going to say, women in crisis? Once she tells you the age of these babies. You know, we take for granted having babies. We take for granted losing babies. We take for granted babies. But when you hear her story and what they're doing for the young ladies here in Uganda, you appreciate that child that sometimes cries and keeps you up. And you appreciate that child who's now grown and got on your nerves. But they're all gifts from God. But we've encouraged the young ladies here to know that all their babies are gifts from God. They're not curses. So, Sister Lizette, I'm just so happy to be here with you. Actually, she's my daughter. But she's going to tell us all about this place and all the wonderful work they're doing. Please listen to her story. And when you finish hearing about it, start praying. You can start praying now if you want to. Please tell us.
Hello everyone there. I'm Lizette. I'm a married woman and a mother of 2 biological sons and so many other children that God has brought in our lives.
Lots of them.
And Hope for Women in Crisis began at a point where I wouldn't wish that point to even have existed humanly. But I know God had all in plan.
Yes.
We were expecting our 3rd son and we lost him 1 hour after he was born. And that crisis never left me the same. Before we lost our son, I had been writing a book and I gave it the title Woman in Crisis. And I really had no idea what that even meant. But I was talking about Ruth, Orpah, and Naomi in that book. But until we lost our son, then I felt and lived what crisis could mean. And what to do, how to handle, how to go through the crisis as a child of God, not just as a human being. And while we lost our baby, we were grieving. I ended up in a ward that had about 30 women, Caesarean mothers, with and without babies. We were a number of mothers that had no babies and were grieving. But God used my crisis to show me what was around. Things I had no idea existed. I had no idea that a grieving mother was not allowed to grieve. I had no idea a woman could actually go have a baby and have no medicine, have no food, have no bedding. I had no idea a woman could be dumped, rejected, abandoned by her family simply because her baby did not make it. So during this crisis, God shows all these things to me in the Word. I had my neighbor who had lost a baby and was abandoned because the baby never made it. So she had no food, she had no one to help her turn around, she had no one to feed her, she had no medicine to go through a healing process because we were all Caesarean mothers. She had no antibiotics, no painkillers. And I was sharing whatever I had with her. But we were about 6 other women that didn't have babies. And God drew my attention to them.
Yes.
I was crying. I was allowed to cry because my husband was always there. And my family was always there. So I would cry every time I wanted to. But these women were not allowed to.
Now listen to that. The women were not allowed to for something that naturally happened. I know I understand what she's saying because tomorrow marks the anniversary of my baby's birthday. I had the same thing. My baby was born. She lived less than an hour. But Angelica is now in heaven. But what I've learned from having Angelica is that I had the total opposite. Everybody was grieving with me. Everybody was praying with me. Everybody was supporting me. Everybody was there for me. But it's kind of hard when you look at a situation that's in another country, which is why I said in the beginning, we take things for granted. But in another country, this is what's going on with this with the ladies there. And as a result of her being at that hospital and seeing this, this is where this particular beautiful place started. Tell us about this place right here in Ginger, which is right outside, 2 hours outside of Kampala.
So about Hope for Men in Crisis, after we left the hospital, God told me He wanted me back in the hospital. And I went back to the hospital to grieve with the mothers. But while I was grieving with them, He began showing me the young women who were there to have babies. And these young women were rejected, abandoned, because their babies had no fathers. They were raped, defiled, and yet they had to carry the burden because they ended up pregnant.
Now, she says young women raped, defiled. Some part of trafficking, some being raped by soldiers and other people in higher authorities. But here's the catch to it. Tell us the age of these, what we're saying, young women.
Now that I've been with them, living life with them 5 years, I've begun calling them young women. But these are literally babies. From 12 years
12.
to 16, the eldest 18. These are the girls I had to help. I had to be there for in the hospital. They had nowhere to go to. Their families had closed doors to them because they were ashamed. Their fathers, who are supposed to be fathers to their babies, had said, if you ever mention my name, that I am the father of this baby, I will kill you. These girls were threatened.
Families were even hiding the boys, and they are boys because real men wouldn't do that. But the families were hiding these boys that raped these young ladies and pretending, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you imagine your 12-year-old, your 13-year-old giving birth to a baby? It gives a new meaning to babies having babies. Now the good news about this particular beautiful house, or I should say 2-house, big yard where they're growing and doing things, is they are now given a second chance in love, in Christian love. Tell us about what goes on here at the house.
So this place, as the name goes, Hope for Women in Crisis, we are here to give hope where there is no hope. The first time you meet any of these girls and look in their eyes, there is no hope at all. When we have them here, this is a place they call home.
Yes.
One more time they have a home. One more time they have a family. They don't call me director, they call me mommy. And my husband is daddy.
Yeah.
My sons and my little girl are their brothers and sisters. They play with them and live life with them. So while we are here living life, daily life, it's real life with them. Feeding together, playing together, crying together, laughing together, celebrating life together, and crying for our losses together. We help equip these girls because there is no more going back. They are mothers now. There is nothing to do apart from going on. We cannot undo that. So the option we have is to help them stand on their own as mothers. So we give them all these trainings. We do farming here because our girls are mostly from villages and they live on farming. So it's just common sense, but also a blessing to teach them farming in the modern way. So they can use it as an income, as a way of helping themselves and helping our girls. We do not teach our girls to beg. We do not give them a handout. We give them a hand up.
A hand up to God, because she's telling you that they're doing farming, they're doing other crafts, people are coming in, they have a social worker here, they have Lisette, who's actually a nurse, so they're blessed medically, they have transportation, they can get around, she takes care of them. Now I know right now you have 5, but you've had up to how many?
We've had up to 16 of them.
16. I was here a couple of months ago, and I remember when I came to, I believe it was 10 or 12 ladies. There was 12 young ladies here. They were all smiling. They were all happy. They all had beautiful babies. But see, they move out to other areas, and they get, they move out and do other type of things. They just don't stay here because they're not trained to stay here and just beg, beg, beg. It's a program where they have to do what they're supposed to do, and then they leave. But they leave with hope, and they leave started.
Yes. They live with hope. We've had some of them go back to school because they have regained hope, and they know that they can actually fight for a future with hope. So we've helped them go back to school. And those that haven't been educated, but they can use their hands, we've helped them acquire skills that they will live with, skills that they are already even using right now. Because while they are here, each of them that makes a necklace or two, or makes a basket or anything, when those items are sold, there is only 3% of the money that comes back to the organization,
And the rest
but
goes
the
to
rest
them.
goes to the girl who made the thing.
They also make backpacks.
Yes, they do.
And I think this weekend they'll be learning how to make mats.
Yes.
Doormats and things like that.
And rugs, yes. And the 3% comes back to the organization to help buy more materials, and because we pay the trainers,
Right.
they are not just volunteers. Why we pay them, we employ women. And I believe in helping this mama who has come to seek for this employment to feed 5 children back home. So when they come to train our girls, we pay them, and they go back and feed their families.
But that's community, and it's also the village taking care of each other.
Yes.
You heard what she has said, and I'm excited because ACNN has now gotten involved with them. And if you'd like to bless them, just go to www.acnnimusa, that's acnnimusa.com. Go to the donate tab, the contact tab, and hit the donate button. And do what you can to bless them. Every little bit counts. You know, I look around and I thank God for places like this. I really, really would pray that here in Uganda and other places they would have other facilities just like this for them. There are just so many things that we can do, little things that we think don't make a difference, but they do make a difference for these girls in their lives. We want them to leave here proudly. We want them to leave with their heads up. And Lisette and her husband, who's also another godly man, who has actually stepped up to the plate, because it's not easy for a man to come involved dealing with all of these women and babies and pregnancies and hormones and everything flying all over the place. But because he loves his wife and his family, even his children get involved, they have one beautiful ministry going over here, and they have hope for women in crisis. We want to thank you for being with us, Sister Lisette. Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. Continue being strong, being blessed, and look at what God has for you, because your test has been your testimony to strengthen these ladies. Again, I'm Pastor Deborah, ACNN CNN, ACNN Christian News Network. Nothing fake here. See you. God bless.